Stream, here you have not one but two wrestling biopics from the state of Texas that couldn't be more different. And yet, there are some similarities, underdog similarities. I'm talking about the movie Cassandro. It is streaming now on Amazon Prime. It stars Gael Garcia Bernal, and this is a true to life biopic as well, in regards to the first ever gay Latino, the gay Mexican wrestler, which was for the 80s and 90s when he came up. Salacious was a salacious thing. Any notes you want to, anything you want to say there? 300, because he's
Oh,
from El Paso. This takes place in El
yeah, he
Paso.
is.
Hmm.
Mhm. So, actually, I'm kind of ashamed to that I didn't know that. I was kinda, like, doing a little bit of research on the movie because I love
Hmm.
Gael Garcia Bernal. He's one of my favorite actors.
Yeah.
So, anything that he's in, basically, I'll pretty much watch it, him and Diego Luna.
Hmm.
So, I was doing a little bit of research, and, yeah, I found out that he's from El Paso. So, when I went into it, I was watching the movie, and it was such a good movie. Like, that one's another one that's a little bit sad too. I
Yeah.
don't know what's going on with the really sad wrestling biopics, but I enjoyed it
From
a
Texas.
lot. Like it was I liked it. It was very I found out a lot of things about his life that I didn't know, and I appreciated it. It was very well acted by Gael as well too.
So this is a drama. It's mainly in Spanish. There is some English because Cassandro is bilingual in real life as well, and it's just about him coming up and getting to the top level to where he fights the son of of Santo, and
Mhm.
Santo even really praises him as well, because at first he wasn't him. He didn't get to be himself. You know, he was one of those wrestlers that always lost. He wasn't his flamboyant self, and it wasn't until he kind of just say, "Here I am," that people started loving him, and he started winning. So you get, really, this is kind of this that the first part of his life in regards to a wrestler. Him coming up, finding who he is, his persona as Cassandro, and then it kind of ends at him being interviewed by Santo, by the son of El Santo, and kind of like he's arrived and he's feels good in his skin. They did cover the death of his mother, his relationship with his father, his relationships with men and drugs, and yeah, it's pretty heavy.
Mhm. Yeah, it really was. I think that's the part of it that made me a little bit more sad was the relationship with his dad.
Well, let me just say this: a lot like Iron Claw, incredible wrestling choreography. Really, really. This is probably a little more visceral, because it really shows kind of just uh, uh, this the backyard of this, the backyard of everything. You know, definitely didn't have what they had built up in Dallas. You know, this guy was training in people's backyards, makeshift. So that was pretty good. Um, Now here's the real Cassandro with Gael Garcia Bernal at the red carpet. Now, as much as I did really enjoy this film, I prefer the documentary that came out a few years prior. Okay, one of my biggest problems is that I felt that Gael Garcia Bernal, even though he helped probably get this movie made because of his name cachet, he's completely miscast. I'm thinking at Tenoch Huerta, someone with that type of frame, that type of I want to say, tone in as far as complexion, Lily. Uh,
Mhm.
that really, because you look at the real Cassandro, that's más indio. I mean, look at him. He's incredible. He's incredible. And this 2018 documentary, which is on um, Amazon as well, that's what you want to see first. Chris Gore said it. Film Thread said it when they reviewed this film a few weeks back. The movie's okay, but go see the documentary. And so I'm thinking, Lily, that you know, Cassandro, you look at his brilliance. Gael, he just didn't have it for me. I liked him, and Romy disagrees with me, but that's just how I feel with this. With
Yeah, I liked Gael.
hmm
I liked him.
hmm yeah.
I mean, I thought he did a really good job. I mean, for me,
mm
he sold it. He
hmm
did a good job.
So here's a couple things that are in the documentary that are not in the film. Okay, and one one important you mentioned the father. He in the documentary, he's got a relationship with his father now. He's had a relationship with his father. In the documentary, that he talks about how his father has been there for him now, and literally takes him or picks him up physically when he's hurting to the hospitals. Because in the doc, it's a lot about his injuries and about his operations. The father is in the doc. He's like a wonderful man. I didn't appreciate that they made him out to be a fucking villain in the film. I didn't like that. I thought it was a huge disservice because that's not the true story. Uh, it's part of his story, but the fact is they came around and have this beautiful father-son relationship, even though it might be a little, let's say, challenging. It's there. So that was one thing, Lily, that I did not appreciate. That this I thought it was a little more of a virtue signaling, like here's my gay scene where I'm coming out, here's where I get to talk about and show other young people. It's like, yeah, but there's all this other stuff in his life that's far more fascinating than just the man's sexuality.
Yeah. I think that's probably where they went wrong is I wish they would have focused a lot more on his relationship with his dad. 'Cause I
hmm
didn't know that. When the movie finished, I was like, "Oh my gosh, that's so sad." I'm like, he's finally, like, has all this fame and or I
hmm
mean, he's getting recognized. He's
hmm
finally himself, and he's able to just, do what he wants, and I'm like, "Wow, his dad, that sucks." I didn't even know that. So, yeah, I think they should have focused a little bit more on, like, they should have kept out all the scenes with Bad Bunny because that was just a waste of time.
Complete waste of time.
A complete
Complete
waste of
waste of
time.
time.
It
It
added
was
nothing because he
no
already had that relationship with the other man.
with Raul Castillo.
So,
Great job.
yeah, so I think they
He
should
was
have just
really
cut out all the scenes with Bad Bunny and just focused on the relationship with his dad. That way you can see, like, those both sides, how he's, kind of not struggling with his sexuality, but how he's
right.
kind of dealing with that part of it, but also dealing with, like, his dad.
Another major thing that they flubbed up in the film is Cassandro's addiction to drugs. In the film, they connected Bad Bunny supplying drugs, and he overdoes it, but then he goes to Mexico City, he's partying, and then he's like, oh, I better straighten up and fly right because I'm gonna be on national television tomorrow, and then he doesn't have a drug problem anymore after that. Like, ah.
Yeah.
in the doc, in the doc, the real Cassandro, right, shows you right next to his bed. It's like a leather belt going all the way down is all his recovery chips, and he shows the director 30 days. Here's my 60 days. Here's my 9 months. Here's my this, and he's like praying with it. It's like his rosary because he's so proud of his like 20 years sobriety. Why did not I can't believe that they played it like that. It really pissed me off because it's all there in the doc, and the doc was there years before the film, where even in the doc, he goes out. He actually starts using for a moment, and then he's got to start all over again with his addictions. Let me tell you, that was that for a man who's got over 8 years sobriety, that was a huge, huge mistake, Lily. I really, really because that's what this guy's been struggling with. Those are his demons, right?
Mhm.
What and again, I just thought that the film became, it was just more of this of a virtual signal than anything, than the real problems with how he grew up, with his parents, with his addiction, the holes he has to fill. It showed that in the documentary. And yes, he does look like Juan Gabriel.
Yeah. Yeah, he does look like Juan Gabriel.
Beautiful face. I love that. I love
Yeah.
that. I love that Indio face. I think we all have a relatives that looks like that. Uh, you know, I
Yeah, I mean, they could have done a much better job with it, but yeah, I feel like just because he's gay and he's an icon, I feel like they focused a lot on that. That's what they wanted to like
yeah.
focus on, but I'm like, no, there was so much more to him because I
Hmm.
kind of went and I Googled it. So like I said, I did a little
Hmm.
bit of research and I was reading on that too. I didn't know
Hmm.
the documentary existed, or else I probably would have just watched that. But yeah, there was so much more they could have focused on, and it just sucks that they didn't.
Highly recommend it. I just saw the movie a few weeks ago, and then the documentary right after. See the doc first, then check out the movie. The movie's okay. The movie's okay. I mean, Lily liked it a little more than I did. I love the documentary. I love the real man. I think this real man is fascinating. He's an incredible
Yeah.
character. He's a pioneer with all that stuff being said. He's just a fascinating character to watch. Way more interesting than what Gael did. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You
It's
know,
okay. Yeah, and I think that's why I'm a little bit more biased because I do like Kyle as an actor.
I love Gael. I
So
love Gael.
that's probably my
Yeah.
bias right there.
I'm gonna say
But
one more
yeah,
thing. Yeah, go
I
ahead. Go
have
ahead.
to I have to actually go down to the one of the Alamo draft houses that we have here. They
Mm.
actually painted a big old portrait of him outside of it.
Yeah, I saw that somewhere. That looked beautiful. I think the real Cassandro posted a photo of him in front of him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm like, that's iconic.
yeah, and also want to tell you that the real Cassandro in this doc reminded me of some of my gay relatives who couldn't come out back in the day, and just the cadence, the culture uh, was just spot on, man. Was just spot on, and those are those are my takes on the movie and the doc. I highly recommend the doc. The movie's okay. I do appreciate Gael Garcia Bernal for having the balls for doing this film. I
Yeah,
mean,
definitely.
he went for it. I got to give him that. He went for it. And some great performances in that film. The mother's fantastic. Raul Castillo plays his lover.
Mhm.
Um, so that is my review for Cassandro.